Hi, I'm Andrea. Thank you so much for joining me for this 30-minute yoga practice. A couple things before we get started. I'm standing on a yoga mat. If you don't happen to have one, find a place in your house that's carpeted. Maybe you've got a nice sturdy rug, not anything that's going to slip out from underneath you. So I don't want the surface to be too slick or for the rug to slip out from underneath you. I also have a folded blanket. This is literally the blanket from my couch, but you could use a beach towel, a nice thick bath towel. 2 yoga blocks. A great substitute for those is 2 thick books. We will start today in what's called child's pose. And I want us to design child's pose so that it feels good to you. Child's pose is often described as sitting back on your heels, kind of like I'm doing right now, just talking to you. But that's a lot of flexion, bend in your knee. And not all of our knees appreciate this much bend. So one thing that you can do is build it out with your book or block. Lean a little bit forward, coming from hands and knees. Reach your arms forward, maybe even rest on your elbows here, and bring your forehead onto your block. So if something designed a little bit more like this is better for your body, use that. If it's fine to scoot back and rest your hips towards your heels, then maybe that is what child's pose is for you today. But it's a great opportunity to meet yourself where you are. Let's do that. And let's turn the arrows of attention inward here for a moment and stop so that we can start. No matter what your child's pose looked like, scoot your props out of the way if that applies, and slither out onto your belly and into Sphinx pose. Let's take a second to build out our Sphinx pose. So your forearms are parallel to the 2 sides of your mat, and here we are, close to the earth. The earth gives us the ground against our bodies, gives us incredible feedback, and it's very grounding to be touching the ground. Let's appreciate both those things. Press into the tops of your feet, into the ground. Ground your feet and let your kneecaps lift. And then traction your elbows towards you and allow that to uplift your heart. Feeling grounded gives us the freedom to uplift our hearts in our bodies and I think in our minds and emotions too. So you could wear all of that into this pose. Your chin is parallel to the ground, so it isn't a struggle with your chin jutting forward. Take a moment or two and feel the ground against your body and what it's telling you. Are you pressing evenly into both arms, both legs, both feet? Lower down, and now resituate your hands next to your floating ribs. Instead of your elbows wiggling out to the side, draw those elbows in like they're going to kiss, just brush against your ribs. And then let's once again pay attention to what the ground is telling us. Ground into the tops of your feet. Let your hands now, instead of forearms, drag your chest forward and up. We're still not struggling with our chin. We're going to let that be parallel to the ground. And then notice, are both hands pressing evenly? Both feet pressing evenly? Are your inhales and exhales even? You can probably feel your breath against the ground right now in this position, this low cobra. We'll lower down and curl our toes under and then come in one chunk to all fours. And once we're on all fours, pause. Feel your hands now grounded into the earth. And let's buoyantly push our hands into the ground and lift our shoulders away from the ground. So we don't collapse into our shoulder joint. We actually use the ground to find our muscles above it. We're building from the ground up. Now, let your tailbone lift towards the wall behind you, as if you were kind of interested in pointing it at that corner where the wall and the ceiling meet. Keep your toes curled under, and then lift your hips up and back as if to position your hips in that little corner. Walk your feet as wide as your mat. Bend your knees more. Push into the ground with your hands more. Let that grow your spine long. Front body, back body, side body. Your trunk feels long towards the sky.
It might be that you move your legs a little bit towards straight. I wouldn't be in any rush to do that. Let's prioritize our trunk. And then walk your feet forward to your hands. Go slowly. Arrive at the front edge of your mat with your feet hip distance and parallel. Put a bend in your knees and climb your hands up onto your thighs. We're still building from the ground up. Your feet are parallel. They're connected to the earth. Press into your thighs, and then grow your spine long and let that grow out the crown of your head. Hinge at your hips, and then ground down to reach up high. V-shape your arms to the sky. Pause a second. Let's feel that we are growing this too, from the earth to the sky. And then float your arms along your sides, palms face out, and we're here in what's called mountain pose. Solid, feet in the ground, mountain. Inhale, V-shape. Exhale, hinge at your hips and hands to your thighs, or slide them to your shins or down to your ankles. Slide your hands up and lengthen through your spine. Then bend your knees deeply. Let's plant our hands into the ground. And when we feel them grounded, we walk back to down dog. You can keep your feet as wide as your mat or bring your feet hip distance. Remember, we were pushing into the ground to lift length through our spine, our side body, and our front body. And now shift it forward, shoulders over wrists, like when we were on all fours, but now it's in a plank position. Bring your knees to your mat. Let them be a bit further back in space than when we were on our hands and knees. And remember, we weren't collapsing into our shoulders. Keep drifting a little bit forward. Go as slowly as you can. It will make you strong. Elbows brush our ribs as we come all the way down onto the ground on our bellies. Uncurl your toes and then traction your hands into cobra. Let's take a moment. Hands and feet even, getting our feedback from the ground beneath us. Lower down, curl your toes under, come through all fours, and then let your hips lift up and back into down dog. Press into the ground with your hands. Walk your feet forward to your hands. Our feet are hip distance and parallel. Slide your hands up, inhale. Glide your hands down, exhale. Inhale, rise, reach, thumbs to the sky, V, and then we stand in our mountain with our palms facing out. Let's flow. Inhale, V. Exhale, hinge at your hips and hands to your thighs or shins or ankles. Slide your hands up and then bend your knees. Plant your hands into the ground and walk back to down dog. Continue to push your hands into the ground and let that grow you long. And come into a plank, staying long, shoulders over wrists. Plant your knees down into the earth and then lower your belly all the way to the ground. Uncurl your toes, bring yourself into cobra, or if you prefer it, a sphinx pose. Lower down, curl your toes under in one chunk. We come to all fours. And then push into your hands to grow your hips to the sky. Down dog. Walk your feet forward, feet to your hands, hip distance and parallel. Slide your hands up, inhale. Glide your hands down, exhale. Then we inhale, rise, reach, thumbs to the sky, a V, and we stand here in our mountain with our palms facing out. We will keep flowing. Inhale, V. Exhale, hinge at your hips and hands to your thighs or shins or ankles. Inhale, glide your hands up. Plant your palms flat into your mat and step into down dog. Once we are in downward facing dog, lift your right leg back behind you and then step that right foot forward, and it's likely that you're going to need to help that right foot along, no problem. Take your 2 books or blocks and plant them on either side of this right foot. So we've got props available to us should we choose to use them. And then climb your hands up on top of that right thigh. Bend your back knee a little bit so we can upright our torso quite easily. And take your arms wide out to the side. We're turning to the left. We'll drop our left heel to the ground. Heel toe this right foot over to the left a little bit. And bend our front knee so that there's a vertical line from our right knee to our right ankle. Let's build this from the ground up. Thumbs to the sky. take your right forearm across your right thigh and your left arm up to the sky. We're not collapsed into our shoulder. We want to keep a nice karate chop. You could take this left hand onto your hip. You might take your right hand on your block outside of that right foot. And then design this what's called side angle. 3 moments. Upright your torso here in our Warrior Two and slowly straighten that right leg. We're not going to side bend. We want to hinge at that right hip and reach way out with our right hand to find our block. Perhaps you prefer your left hand on your hip here, so feel free. We build this from the ground up, pressing our right big toe into our mat and making sure that we don't lock into a straight leg. And then we have 3 moments just like this. A careful dismount. We will bend our right knee and spin on our left toes at the same time as our left hand comes onto that block. So we're back into that original lunge position. Place your 2 blocks out of your way. Palms are rooted into the ground. Step to down dog and either stay here or shift to plank position with your shoulders over your wrists. Plant your knees into the ground carefully and then lower all the way down onto your belly. Uncurl your toes, either a cobra pose or your forearms can go down if you prefer. Lower down, curl your toes under in one chunk to all 4s, and then we lift our hips up and back, down dog. Lift your left leg behind you. Step that left foot forward. Help it along if that's something that's needed. No shame in that. And here we are in our lunge position with our hands on our 2 books or blocks. We'll bend our back knee, climb our hands up on top of that left thigh so that we've got a nice upright torso. Arms wide out to the side, drop your right heel, heel toe this left foot over to the right. Check to make sure that there is a vertical line from this left knee to your left ankle. And then we pause here in Warrior Two for just a moment or 2. We'll position our left forearm across our left thigh. It might be that you prefer your right hand on your hip. Make sure that you're not crumbling into that left shoulder. Stay here or take your left hand onto your block on the outside of that left foot. Again, right arm to the sky or right hand on your hip. It's up to you. 3 moments. Firm your belly, upright your torso. And then straighten your front leg. It's not a side bend. We hinge at our left hip. We reach way out with that left hand and find our block or book. Maybe right hand stays on your hip. Remember, we build this from the ground up, making sure we're not locked into our legs. We're pressing into that left big toe mound and igniting the muscles in that left leg towards straight. From our triangle pose, we'll slow motion at the same time, spin on our right toes, our back toes, bend our front knee, and find our block with our right hand. So we return to that lunge. Take your 2 blocks out of your own way and step to down dog. From down dog, shift forward, shoulders over wrists. Bring your knees to your mat and lower all the way down onto your belly. Uncurl your toes and bring yourself into a cobra pose. And then lower down, curl your toes under, come to all 4s and pause on all 4s. We'll stay close to the ground for the rest of this practice. Step your right foot forward next to that right thumb. Keep your left knee on your mat. You may want to pad it with your folded blanket. Stack your 2 books or blocks on top of each other. Walk this right foot forward so we've got a nice vertical line from our right knee to our right ankle. And then it might be that you can come onto your forearms here in what's called humble warrior, or just stay on your hands. You could even stay on your hands with books or blocks underneath. While we're here, we're going to soak. And I want you to maintain the length through your spine, but also feel your connection to being grounded and calm. You have the ground beneath you, but you also have the power of your exhale. And while we're in these quieter poses closer to the earth, you might focus on making your exhale a little bit longer than your inhale. A full minute of silence here in our humble warrior pose. Now come up onto your hands if you're on your forearms. Position your two blocks on either side of that right foot. And then it's a half split, or it's possible that you go a little bit deeper. I wouldn't get carried away because we have a full minute. And we want to stay grounded. And if we go too far, it's going to make it very difficult for us to find that calming exhale and feel rooted and grounded. So just enough sensation to keep you present, but not so much that you feel like you need to scurry away. A full minute starting right now. Pay close attention to how we get into this next posture. Bend your right knee. We still have our left knee back behind us. Take one of your books or blocks so that you can sit this right hip onto your book or block. We're pretty side saddle and leaning to the right. Some of us are going to need to stay this way, and that's fine. If you're able to upright and curl your left toes under and draw this left hip forward, there will be quite a bit of stretch on the front of your left thigh and a little bit of a hip stretch here in what's called single pigeon. Some of you might not want to keep this block underneath. You might feel open enough in that what's called external rotation to be off your block. I think most of us will benefit from a block or folded blanket there. And then we've got another full minute. So remember, be careful what you wish for. Because if you take it too far, it's going to be a long minute. 1 minute starting now. Again, I want you to take your time so that you can fashion the next pose according to the feedback that you're getting from your own body. Now, we'll probably come off of this perch, swing our left leg around so you can sit down and help it along, and step this left leg over your right leg. Now, this configuration might not work for you. That's fine. Straighten your right leg and step this left leg over if that's better. You could also do that seated on either this block or folded blanket, which will elevate the situation a little bit. As we turn, it's not a rounded turn. I want you to feel that you sit up and then either hug that left knee or take your right elbow outside of that left knee. And with every inhale, we grow tall. And with every exhale, we just encourage ourselves a tiny bit more into our twist. Carefully unwind. Waggle your legs out in front of you for a moment. Swing your legs around so that we're on all fours. Once you're there, step your left foot forward. Remember this part? Stack your 2 blocks or books. It might be enough to be on your hands. It could be that you come onto your forearms. It's a good idea to take a look at your left knee and left ankle and let them be at a vertical line, and then a full minute of silence together here in this side of our humble warrior. Bring your hands onto your blocks if they're not there already. Straighten your left leg. Position your 2 blocks on either side of that straight left leg. It's plenty to just be here. Maybe left ankle forward a little bit, right knee back a little bit. We've got a full minute. Make it manageable. 1 minute starting now. Be careful as we go. Bend that left knee. Position your block for your left hip to sit on. Single pigeon like this is great. It could be that you curl your back toes under and let your hips square off a little bit more, but listen to your body about that configuration. And then we have a full minute here in our single pigeon. Feel free to let it lean over to the left and use that block that you're sitting on.
And as we come into our seated twist, I want you to be mindful in this dismount. Bend your back knee. Maybe you stay seated on your block if it's helpful. Probably coming off of it, kind of figuring things out. Help this leg around. You'll swing it around and step it over this left leg. Maybe a straight left leg. So take your time coming into it. There's a lot of different ways to do it. And then we'll grow tall as we twist, and it could be that you hug this right knee or left elbow is outside of this right knee, and then we'll inhale and grow tall and exhale as we twist. Gently unravel. Sit for a moment in a cross-legged position. If that's not comfortable, sit on your block, on your folded blanket, on a cushion from your couch, whatever you'd like to do. Let's sit for a moment in meditation. Our meditation guru has arrived. Palms up or down. You can close your eyes or just soften your gaze. Option to finish our practice like this. If you love lying down in Shavasana final meditation, you can also lie down on your back. But 2 minutes now of silence in a rest and digest. If you're lying on your back, roll to your side, bring your knees into your chest. Come up and come into a comfortable seat with us. You could place your hands on your heart or keep your hands on your thighs, but a moment of gratitude. Grateful that we have this time to get grounded together. I'm Andrea. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I look forward to us doing this again together soon.